right, everyone. Ready to dive in.
Always.
Today, we're going deep on Omar Al-Shafeea Ameer.
Oh, this is a good one. I was really fascinated by him.
Me too. Remember, we're looking at excerpts from this Voices of Excellence podcast.
Right.
Just to recap for everyone, Omar got top marks in Sudan's secondary school exam.
Amazing.
But he's also this incredibly talented artist and graphic designer.
Totally talented.
And, get this, he wants to be a doctor. Talk about ambition.
Well, and you have to think about the context, right?
I mean, in Sudan.
Yeah. The educational landscape there, it's not exactly a walk in the park.
It's tough. The podcast really highlights the challenges students face.
Definitely. I mean, for him to achieve what he has,
It says a lot.
it really does.
Yeah.
It's about so much more than just being smart.
It's that resilience, that drive.
Absolutely.
I kept thinking about how the podcast called Education in Sudan a double-edged sword.
Yeah,
It's a hurdle, for sure,
a big one.
but it's also like this incredible opportunity.
That's the thing about education, especially in developing nations.
It's transformative.
It really is. Think about it. When someone like Omar succeeds, it's not just personal.
It becomes this symbol.
Exactly. Hope, progress. He shows what's possible. It's inspiring.
Makes other students think, hey, maybe I can do that too.
Exactly. He's breaking down barriers.
And what I found fascinating, Omar isn't just all about academics.
Oh, right. His artwork.
The podcast described these incredible sketches, really detailed.
Yeah, and then those abstract pieces too. So expressive.
And don't forget the portraits.
Oh, so good.
But he's into graphic design too. Logos, digital art, posters.
Wow. Yeah, it's like he does it all.
It's almost like, I don't know, he's got this artistic energy that can't be contained.
It makes you wonder if that actually helps him academically too, you know?
Like they feed each other somehow.
Maybe. But it's definitely a reminder that people are complex.
Like those old ideas of left brain, right brain. Not so simple.
Right. You can be analytical and creative.
Yeah.
It's powerful when those come together.
It made me think about all those sayings about doctors needing an artist's touch.
Oh, yeah. Like seeing things differently, thinking outside the box.
That intuition you need in medicine.
Definitely. You can't just learn it all from a textbook.
So do you think Omar's art could make him a better doctor? Is that too far-fetched?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Art and medicine, they actually have a lot in common.
Okay, I'm curious. Explain that one.
Well, think about medical illustration.
Those drawings in textbooks, right.
Exactly. But it's way more than that. It's a whole field where artists help doctors and patients visualize things.
Complex surgeries, how diseases work.
Things that are hard to grasp otherwise. And then there's patient-centered design.
I haven't heard of that.
So it's where artists and designers work on healthcare spaces.
You mean like making hospitals less scary?
Kinda. But more than that, it's about making them calming, intuitive.
More human in a way.
Yeah. Because think about it. Who wants to be stuck in a sterile, boring hospital room?
Good point.
So art is already being used to improve the whole healthcare experience.
Makes me even more curious to see what Omar might do in medicine.
It's pretty exciting to think about. A young doctor understands the science, but also has this visual way of thinking.
Potentially groundbreaking.
Exactly.
And it's not just about skills, right? The podcast was clear. Omar wants to study medicine to help people.
That's huge.
It's a calling, not just a career.
It speaks volumes. You know, it makes you wonder what drives people to medicine in general.
Yeah, it can't just be the prestige, can it?
There's got to be something deeper.
It's such a demanding field. So what is it? What draws people in?
Well, sure, there's the intellectual challenge, solving medical mysteries.
Right, the puzzle of it.
But it's also got to be about compassion, empathy, wanting to ease suffering.
That human connection.
Definitely making a real difference in people's lives.
It almost sounds artistic in a way, that intuition you were talking about.
Oh, I completely agree. Sometimes the best doctors, they have that spark.
It's not just about following the rules.
Right. It's about seeing a patient's situation in a new light, finding that unique solution.
So maybe Omar's artistic side.
It could be a huge asset.
Instead of a hindrance, it'll help him as a doctor.
Exactly. Think about it. That visual thinking, seeing patterns others miss.
It could affect how he diagnoses, treats patients, even explains things to them.
All of that. It's almost like...
A secret weapon.
Yeah, I like that.
And his story, it's not just about him. It's got the potential to inspire others.
Huge potential. The fact that he didn't have to choose between his talents academics versus art.
He embraced both.
That's powerful. It's like he's this walking example
And of what?
of how powerful it can be when you combine different ways of thinking.
That interdisciplinary thing.
Yeah, like smashing those old ideas of left brain versus right brain.
He's showing you don't have to pick just one.
You can be logical and creative. Both.
And that's got to be so encouraging for young people.
Especially when they're often told to specialize, to fit into a box.
Right, like pick one lane and stay in it.
But Omar's story is saying, no way you can blend your passions, make something totally new.
It makes me wonder, what about those of us who aren't going into medicine?
Good question. How do we use this way of thinking?
Yeah, like, is it applicable to everyday life?
Think about it. Whatever your field is, there's always room for creativity.
You're saying our interests aren't just hobbies, they can actually make us better at our jobs.
Exactly. Let's say you're a lawyer, but you love writing poetry.
Okay,
Maybe that helps you connect with a jury better, make a more powerful argument.
interesting. Or, I don't know, an engineer who's also a photographer.
Could be that their eye for composition makes their designs more elegant, more user-friendly,
It's like all these hidden connections.
waiting to be discovered.
And going back to Omar, his story isn't just about him personally achieving things.
Right, it's bigger than that.
He's become this role model, especially in Sudan.
Think about the challenges young people face there.
Not easy.
Having someone like Omar to look up to, it's huge.
Proof that you can aim high.
Exactly, that your dreams are worth pursuing.
And it's not just about personal success for him either, right?
Not at all.
The podcast talked a lot about how much he wants to give back to his community.
He sees his education, his talents, as a way to make things better for others.
So how do you think he'll do that? I mean, specifically.
Well, we know he's passionate about medicine.
Maybe he'll work in underserved communities in Sudan.
Could be. Or maybe he'll use his art to create public health campaigns.
Make them really eye-catching, memorable.
And don't forget his tech skills.
Oh, right.
Maybe he combines all this to develop some amazing new healthcare solution.
Something tailored just for Sudan.
Exactly. An app that makes medical info easier to access or designs affordable medical devices.
It's amazing to think about all the possibilities.
And it all comes back to him being open to all parts of himself.
Yeah.
The science and the art.
And that's what makes him such a powerful example.
Couldn't agree more. It makes you think, what's our responsibility here?
You mean to encourage young people to be well-rounded?
Yeah. What if we, as a society, stopped trying to force them into one box or another?
Celebrated their mix of talents instead.
Think about the innovation that could unleash.
It's like Omar's story is a wake-up call telling us to break down these barriers.
Exactly. And it's not always about inventing something huge or changing the world in some dramatic way.
Sometimes it's the little things.
Using your creativity to make someone smile, helping a friend with a problem.
Remembering that we all have something special to offer.
And by tapping into all parts of ourselves, we can make a real difference, even in small ways. And it all goes back to education, doesn't it?
In a way, yeah. But not just like going to school.
Right. More than that. It's that constant learning.
Being curious, making those connections.
Exactly. Though, I gotta admit, it's not always easy.
Oh, tell me about it.
Stepping outside your comfort zone, trying new things.
It can be kind of scary.
Definitely takes courage to embrace, your full self.
Especially those parts that don't fit neatly into a box.
But the payoff? It can be amazing.
And Omar, he's a perfect example of
He
that.
could have just stuck with academics, been a brilliant doctor. That's it.
Safe and predictable. But instead,
He embraced the art, too. It's not just enriching his own life.
he's opening up all these new paths for medicine, maybe even beyond.
It makes you wonder, what other connections are we missing? Just waiting to be found.
It's like a whole new way of looking at the world.
What if we applied art to urban planning?
Whoa, yeah. Or used music to understand data.
Exactly. What if storytelling made science more exciting for kids?
So many possibilities.
So breaking down those walls in our minds, thinking more creatively, more broadly.
And it starts with curiosity.
Always. That what-if attitude.
And wanting to explore the unknown. The thing is, it's never too late to start.
Absolutely not. Student, working professional, doesn't matter. There's always something new to discover.
Some new connection to make, some way to use what you already know.
So wrapping up our deep dive on Omar, I think the biggest lesson is this. Don't be afraid of all your talents, all your passions.
Love that.
And for everyone listening, think about it. What seemingly unrelated interests do you have? What surprising combinations are hiding in plain sight?
It's a challenge for sure.
But a fun one. And who knows, maybe one of our listeners will be the next Omar.
Inspiring others with their unique blend of skills and that desire to make the world better.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So, on that note, keep exploring, keep connecting, and keep pushing those boundaries.
Hear, hear.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.